Hey, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend and welcome to the latest edition of Notre Dame Daily on this Monday. Of course, brought to you by Fan Arch. I'm Pete Mulroy, and I hope everybody impacted by this ongoing snowstorm barreling through major parts of the country, including here in the Northeast in New York City, is doing well. Heading into the weekend, the Irish officially did, and you probably saw this, announce their schedule for the 2026-27 football season, complete with dates for each of the 12 contests. As we know, the campaign's going to open in Green Bay, Wisconsin for a date with the Badgers at Lambeau Field. The Sunday, September 6th game is going to be played at, obviously, the famed Lambeau Field and serve as Notre Dame's Shamrock Series showdown, where the Irish, in the history of this series, are a perfect 12-0. From there, Notre Dame heads home for back-to-back games against Rice, September 12th, Michigan State, September 19th, before traveling to West Lafayette on September 26th for the final game of the month against Purdue. Notre Dame and Michigan State play for the Megaphone Trophy each time out, but the longstanding rivals haven't met on the gridiron since the Irish stomped Sparty 38-13 in 2017. And a win in this one for Notre Dame would be its 50th all-time over Michigan State. Two of the next three games following that will be played on the road as Notre Dame hits Chapel Hill on October 3rd to meet Bill Belichick's UNC Tar Heels, then host rival Stanford October 10th before traveling to Provo for a massive tilt with BYU October 17th. You'd expect this game to have massive college football playoff implications, as both teams are expected to be ranked within the top 15 of the country entering the season, including this Notre Dame squad that could very well land inside the top three of the initial rankings. I would say at least top five. Of course, this game is being played in mid-October, so a lot can change during that time span, especially with the Irish playing 6 games as the lead-in to the one against the Cougars. After the trip to Provo comes the bye week, and from there, Notre Dame hits Foxborough to play Navy at Gillette Stadium, so that will surely draw a nice crowd and be a great environment. Then, the contest everybody has circled. The Miami Hurricanes, Saturday, November 7th at Notre Dame Stadium. The two most recent national runner-ups, the Irish and Hurricanes, played a great game to open last season, Miami escaping with a 27-24 victory. The longtime rivals haven't played in South Bend since 2016, with Notre Dame winning that one in what was a dreadful campaign for the Irish, 30-27 over Miami. That was Mark Richt's first season as Miami head coach, so the Irish got the victory there. This time around, emotions are certainly going to be running high, with Notre Dame wanting another true statement victory against a team that should also be in postseason contention once more. From there, and you get BYU and Miami in a 3-week span. Two of the final 3 games of the regular season are in South Bend, with Notre Dame hosting Boston College and SMU on November 14th and 21st, respectively, before ending the season in upstate New York against Syracuse. Looking at the slate from top to bottom, there are going to be opportunities for Notre Dame to showcase just how talented they are. Contests against Wisconsin, tough. Michigan State, UNC on the road, BYU on the road, Navy, Miami at home, SMU at home, all come with varying degrees of difficulty. But for a Notre Dame team that will and certainly now does view itself as a title contender, taking care of business and getting the W's are all that matter. This schedule sets up nicely for them to do some damage. They'll just have to execute it now and stick with that plan. But, might look a little light when you look at the opposition in certain areas for Notre Dame. But you play the schedule made, you play the schedule given. A lot of these dates were set, or these opponents were set way in advance of this show, as we know. So Notre Dame just got to take care of business. You start with a tricky one in the Shamrock Series, Lambeau Field, Wisconsin, September 6th on a Sunday. That trip to Provo is going to be huge. That trip to Foxborough and Chapel Hill, also biggies. And then that home game, which you'd have to assume will be under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium, I would think, November 7th against Miami, could very well decide a hell of a lot as to positioning for the college football play. If you got to win the games on your schedule, got to win the games leading up to that. But there are certainly some biggies on this schedule for Notre Dame. And as we continue to look ahead to next season, Marcus Freeman and the Irish know they have an exceptional talent in starting quarterback C.J. Carr. I think we're all in lockstep with that one. Coming off an impressive first season as a starter, Carr enters next season among the Heisman favorites, and that's very good news for Notre Dame. But as is the case for every position group on every team, legitimate depth needs to exist on the roster. Having a reliable backup quarterback is as important as anything. For the Irish, having trust and confidence in their backup QBs, should CJ Carr, God forbid, go down, that is something that could exist. They have the confidence in this group, but there is zero in-game experience on the collegiate level for the guys behind CJ Carr at present. Remember, there's no more Kenny Minchie as he has transferred out, hit the portal, and is going elsewhere. Referencing next season, Marcus Freeman said in his most recent presser that he does expect a legitimate competition to take place for the QB2 role beginning in the spring. Also noted in that same presser that while he and his staff did kick the tires on adding a veteran presence to the room via the recent January portal, that it wasn't all that likely they'd be able to get someone to come in, commit to being a backup, and still have to beat out and compete with the likes of Blake Hebert, Noah Grubbs, or a Teddy Gerard. So, yeah, you kick the tires there in the portal, but all of that being calculated was probably unlikely. And as we saw, the Irish didn't bring in anyone via the portal. As far as the competition for the spot behind Carr, Gerard is expected to sign with the Irish next month and then enroll at the university in June. He's absolutely going to be given a great opportunity to earn that role. Possesses incredible football instincts, 6'3", buck 95. That frame is what you want in your prototypical passing quarterback. And the ability to scan the field this kid has with poise and just drop passes in over the top was something that was very attractive to the teams recruiting him. So it's entirely possible he does win the backup job. Hebert and Grubbs also factor into the competition. Many actually view Grubbs as the early favorite to grab hold of the role. He's another one, great size, 6'4", 215, presents with that sturdy frame, and he's got a good arm. An inability to sling it quickly, putting nice touch on his passes. So the ability for Grubbs is certainly there, which I think is why, if you ask many, he probably has the leg up there for the backup job right now. And overall, while the room lacks that in-game experience, having a competition between three incredibly gifted QBs is a great thing here. Competition generally brings the best out of those involved. And solidifying who that, quote, next man up could be should CJ Carr go down is crucial for the Irish. Marcus Freeman expects a legitimate battle for the role, as I said a moment ago, and he's undoubtedly going to make his selection based solely on performance. Again, that lack of playing experience in college can be worrisome for some, but the room packs legitimate talent. It truly does. We'll start to learn more about just how gifted these QBs are as the spring approaches and on through the spring into the blue gold game and what have you. It's going to be a true competition. We saw that last year for the top job between Carr and Minchie. And I think one will unfold for the backup role behind CJ Carr because you've got to be prepared should tragedy strike there with your Heisman contending starting quarterback in CJ Carr. He's as good as they come, but you've got to have that reliable option behind him should you need him. And just a couple of quick notes today to close concerning the future of the college football playoff and Irish recruiting. This past Friday, CFP committee, as many of you know, unable to come to terms on an expanded field, so the tournament will remain as a 12-participant event. As I spoke about last week, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, he was in support of a 16-team model. Big Ten boss Tony Petitti would only agree to that if Sankey gave his commitment to a 24-team field after 3 years of the 16-team format. With the Big Ten and the SEC having the majority of the decision-making power between Petitti and Sankey, that's how they voted this committee, the breakdown and shifting of power. It probably wasn't all that likely a deal for expansion would get done ahead of next season, but it really shouldn't have been that difficult. Expansion's best across the board. I mean, that's at least my opinion. The more legitimate teams in the field, the better the tournament. I've noted how successful the FBS tournament is each season, and they use the 24-team model. Coming to terms on at least a 16-team field should have been incredibly easy for these people to do, but egos always seem to get in the way. So for now, the CFP field's going to remain at 12 as committee members once again will take even more time to further examine the potential direction or directions for the future. It's an absolute shame because as unlikely as it was, I do think there was somewhat of a belief and maybe more of a hope than a belief that you would at least expand it to 16 teams. You look around at what happened this past season with the 12-team format. Had it been a 16, you're looking at a BYU, a Notre Dame, possibly a Vanderbilt, a Utah. Good football teams, legitimate football teams, and it just makes for a better tournament. So I don't get it. I don't know why they have to make mountains out of molehills, but this is when egos get in the way. Everybody wants to be that final decision maker with the power, and who pays for it? The fans, the universities, the tournament itself. So it's unfortunate we won't have expansion. I do think we eventually get there, but it's just time wasted moving forward. And lastly for today, you all know how excited I was about the commitment of 4-star linebacker Ellis McGaskin to the 2027 ND class. But as luck would have it, that no longer looks like it's going to be realized in South Bend. The 5'11", 210-pounder from Mobile, Alabama, decommitted from Notre Dame over the weekend, which is obviously a blow to the class as a whole. McGaskin was the first player to commit to ND in the 27 group, doing so in July. Now, he will explore other options. Initially chose Notre Dame over the likes of LSU, Auburn, Florida, Miami, Ohio State, Michigan, and a handful of others. So it's going to be interesting to see where he ultimately heads next. Outside of that, though, the 27 class remains a solid one with 7 commits thus far, even with this decommitment of McGaskin. Fellow linebacker Amari Irvin's a stud. He was a massive get for the program. And defensive players and corners, Xavier Hassan and Ace Alton, as well as safety Khalil Terry, are also fine commits. So you're looking at another early great start here to the 2027 class on the heels of really what was an unprecedented class in 2026. Those guys coming in as Notre Dame now paving the way for the 27 group. So, yeah, it sucks to lose a kid like McGaskin, one of the better linebackers in the class across the country. But the Irish still very good, in very good shape here with this 2020 group. From an overall perspective in recruiting, they're beyond fine, and that's not going to change anytime soon. That momentum will continue, and the ads will keep coming. So for now, if you're still getting hit with that snow, I know it's supposed to continue on into Monday in certain parts, including here in New York City. Stay warm, stay safe. I know a lot of the kids here are it's a remote learning day for them. So wherever you are, if you're impacted by this, just stay safe and don't go out if you don't have to. Some of the roads are pretty crappy. So with that, have a good, safe rest of your day. I will see you all tomorrow. And as always, go Irish.